Hello, and welcome to Innovating the Corporate Client Experience, a Finextra webcast with Misys. And joining me today is Olivier Bettier, who's Global Solutions Director, Transaction Banking at Misys. Next to him is Rashish Mehta, who's Head of Treasury and Trade Solutions EMEA at Citi Transaction Services. And also Charles DeBerry, who's Head of Direct Channels and Integration, GTB at HSBC. And last but not least, we have Andre Kasterman, who's Head of Banking and Trade Solutions at Swift. So, we're talking about customer experience in the corporate banking world. And this idea of customer experience seems to be, the topic with banks on all range from retail banking to customer banking, where banks are refocusing their marketing and their product management along the so-called customer line. And of course, this is coming into the customer world. So, I think a lot of transaction banks have also centralized their global transaction bank along cash management lines and trade finance, which has sort of underpinned this refocusing to the customer. So the big question I'm going to start off with you guys is that big broad question, and I'm going to start with Andre because you coming from Swift, you have this overview of all the banks. So what are you saying? How are banks moving towards improving this kind of vague concept of the customer, the corporate customer experience?
From what we witness on the Swift side, we see the banks really following the customers, mainly the large customers, who most of the innovation we see are really driven by large customers, whether they are buyers or sellers. And those large customers are looking at centralization of their own treasury functions. And through those centralization projects, those customers have new needs, such as multi-banking from one center. Treasury department, they need multi-banking access to their various treasury services offered by all of their banking partners. And we see gradually this becoming a standard for global treasury departments to centralize, to operate their cash transactions in order to have higher visibility on their transactions on a worldwide basis. And multi-banking innovation through electronic flows are now basically the norm, but mainly the norm on the cash side. And the future will tell us whether the trade side will be able to catch up with the cash side.
I saw you nodding a bit to what Andre was saying.
Yeah, I would say the trend is there, more centralized infrastructure on the corporate side, as well as more standardization. And I think as a result, at HSBC, we are working in order to make the customer journey even easier. I would say we are working hard in order to make it easy to buy from HSBC and also to implement from HSBC, which means finding ways in order to streamline any processes when it comes to integration, when it comes to implementation, when it comes to account opening, for example, with a big initiative from Swift going on. And in parallel, we also, and I fully subscribe to Andre's views, meaning more and more a corporate customer will ask to operate and access each of the banking services out of a single platform. So no matter if it's cash related, treasury related, trade related, it has to be accessible via a single platform and fully end-to-end integrated.
So Andre and Charles mentioned, cash and treasury and trade, and how there is this saying something is being customer focused, but what's the reality of making that happen?
Well, our view at Citi is that there's probably, step back a second, there are four factors I think that are driving this whole focus on the customer experience. One is the changing demands given where we are as an economy and as the world situation, and the customer's needs are changing. The second is, I think it's all about connectivity and the user interface. By that I mean, when people are using iPhones and Blackberries and iPads, it's sort of antediluvian to be in the corporate world corporate banking world has to keep up with the pace. And I think that's a big driver, the second big driver. The third big driver, in my view, is the